What do we need to know about the comet 3I/Atlas? It's going to be the closest to Earth on December 19th, 2025. It's an interstellar comet, so it's just going to fly through our solar system, never come back. These are comets are thought to bring omens. So let's just take a look to see, what is it going to bring while we're waiting for it to get here, so to speak? What is it foreshadowing? And what are the effects after it leaves? And how are things different once it's quite a distance away from the planet? So let's first start with um, what is it foreshadowing during this time until it gets to the closest spot to Earth? What is it foreshadowing here? It does feel like it's preparing us for this transition to a more feminine type of energy. Uh, uh, it does feel like, this is foreshadowing some pretty big governmental shakeups as well. So let's just see, what's this foreshadowing? Yeah, it feels like there's, it's preparing us for some events that they feel chaotic, but I don't think they actually are. I think just like because we've been through so much chaos to this point, they feel less chaotic. But I think if we had been living in a normal, calm existence, it would feel like something like akin to COVID that was just like out of the blue and crazy. So the Six of Swords bringing us out of the trouble. So it's preparing us to leave some things that are hurting the planet and hurting humanity behind. Um, this does feel like certain world governments or their leaders. I do think it's going to feel like we don't have choices in this matter, that it's a destined thing. This thing is destined to happen. And I think that the messages that it brings are quite fiery and literally might be fire in some circumstances. I think humanity's protected. It's a protector of humanity in a sense. What it's going to bring is forward a better world by getting rid of the things that no longer really serve us. I'm seeing the Eight of Cups in the Scrying Bowl. So it's like, you know, Netanyahu and Putin and Trump, they're not really, and Bolsonaro, and I mean, there's others. You can keep going on, Orban. They're not really serving humanity, right? They're not helping to advance the cause. So at the center of the reading, we get the King of Cups, which is a turning to more empathetic time, a time where, we honor people's differences instead of using them to divide us. So I think it's in some sense a return to sanity, but like I think we also forget that before this crazy time, that things really weren't that great, right? Marginalized communities were still marginalized. I think this is moving us past that to something that's even better than what was before. Um, the Two of Wands, it's going to be a big defining point on the planet and for humanity. Now, does that mean its effects are exactly on December 19th, 2025? No. The effects might take several years to come into play. So I don't think we're talking that quickly. I think, ensuring that people have the things that they need, the Nine of Pentacles, embracing all sorts of different types of partnerships and genders, I think is also part of this as well, and stopping the regression backwards that has been currently happening and moving away from the energies that are around certain political groups that choose to marginalize people that might um, not conform to their definition of gender. Um, and again, more emotional maturity, more emotional stability with the Queen of Cups, going along with the King of Cups. So what we're moving towards is just more empathy, a better understanding, a better caring about humanity, and really mastering the human emotions. Um, are we going to master them right away? Of course not. But, I think, you know, people are going to be more open in the future about talking about exactly how they're feeling. I think kids already are. I think the older generations will have a harder time with this, especially conservatives in particular. I think it's trying to ensure that everybody has what they need through, this mastering of emotions and sending very clear messages that, equality needs to be for everybody. And, I think we don't have a choice in it. Like, this is just what's going to happen, the Two of Swords. And it's going to be a defining moment. It's going to be an acceptance of all sorts of partnerships. I mean, that's three twos, the Two of Swords, the Two of Wands, the Two of Cups, and the environment around. And then we get the Star card, which is protection for people. So I think it's going to bring about a lot of really good things. Yeah, the end to a dark cycle, confinement for those that don't want to play the game fairly, and you know, making work be valued for the work that you're doing, not because of some arbitrary system. So, teachers making similar amounts of money to stockbrokers, for example, and victory. It's a win for humanity. Now, I think this takes several centuries for it to all play out, but I mean, humanity's going to be just fine. Uh, it's it's just going to go through some big changes, and these are going to be for the better. So that's what it's foreshadowing. So what does it actually bring at the like at the moment of time? What can we expect it to bring once it's here? Uh, so it's foreshadowing this big future that's a ways down the road, but what's it actually going to bring at the time? It's going to bring at the time. Yeah, they're going to bring at the time. I think it brings quite a bit of chaos leading up to it getting here, and then I think that chaos continues for another 3 or 4 months afterwards on a global level. Now, on an individual level, I think things start to feel a lot better because of this. Um, Definitely a great time to manifest to whatever it is that you're wanting. Do that. Yeah, I think it brings forward, kind of a news cycle that's really hard to keep up with. We already are kind of already in that. It definitely is allowing people to daydream and allows a little bit of the illusion and delusion to continue. Um, we get the Seven of Swords in the environment around, which of course is about deceit and deception, dishonesty, thievery. Um, you know, I think it brings a heightened awareness to this. I don't think it puts a stop to it. I think it like makes us more aware of what's going on. So therefore, it might seem like there's actually more of it going on, but that's not really going to be accurate, I don't think. At the center of the reading, we get the King of Pentacles, which is, my card for the President of the United States. So I think it probably, ushers in this era of moving away from that towards the types of governments, because that type of governance is gonna disappear. I'll show you here in just a second. Uh, I think I'd be really surprised if Donald Trump is still alive by the time it gets here. Uh, Giving and receiving of information, repayments of loans and debts, Six of Pentacles, and real good discernment and prosecutorial type energy. So, it's a good time to manifest. Greed is going to be really spotlighted, and people are going to make really good discernments about exactly what political leaders are doing and why. Now, there is going to be a loss of this particular political leader, probably happens before the comet gets here. And uh, this does allow for some kind of conspiratorial type of theories to fly around, which have been flying around for millennia. So, I mean, they're not new. But if you read this row, it's like greed and thievery and deception by this particular individual ends, which I think is a real good indicator that he's gone. And then also in the environment around, it's just really hard to keep up with the news. There's a lot going on. Um, I do think trade picks up, but I think that's after he goes. So, I think we can expect all of those things. The truth will be more important than ever, and peaceful diplomacy and new beginnings with the Ace of Pentacles. But in the meantime, we're just gonna have to wait. And what are we waiting for with the Hanged Man? We're waiting for stability, the Four of Pentacles. And what comes after stability? Comes victory. So this is really good stuff that this is going to usher in. And we're going to start to feel it. And we've already started to feel it. So, um, yeah, so what are its broader effects on the planet and humanity? What are the broader effects on the planet and humanity? The broader effects of this comment, comet on humanity. It's like it's surprising, refreshing new beginning. It's like a return to peace. Um, I think we can expect a better economy as well. I think we can expect an economy that works for more people. Now, I don't think this happens overnight. I mean, I think this takes, years and possibly decades to completely fulfill, but that's what it feels like. So let's see here, what we get. So what are the effects? Okay, I think there's just a greater acceptance of partnerships in general, be them, male, female, male, male, female, female. People are gender non-conforming. I don't think it matters. I think there's just more of an acceptance that love is love. So that's a good thing. Um, I do think there's a little bit more of the idea of life should be about fun and playing and not so regimented and economically driven as well. I think stability is something that we don't have to work for as hard. Now, obviously, I'm not delusional into saying, oh, in 10 years there's not going to be anybody that's economically oppressed, because that's certainly there's going to be people that are economically oppressed. I think it's just going to be less acceptable. And there's going to be a greater working towards ending that, a greater sense of justice and balance on like this karmic scale, like really thinking about um, everybody having equal access. Now, it's inevitable with the Three of Wands here at the center, and this is where we've been heading for the last 1,000 years, anyhow. Um, don't get me wrong, there's been dark periods during this thing, but we've pretty much been arcing towards a freer and more just society. It's not going to be easy. There are going to be a lot of resistances along the way. But once this comet passes, there's no turning back. That's the way we're going. A more of embrace of the feminine energy, of the female energy, of the motherly energy, or what we're calling the divine feminine. Uh, Certainly doesn't have to relate to gender. Um, and it's a brand new world, the full card. It's fantastic. So, uh, you know, the world will finally treat love as love, and it's inevitable that we get this brand new big beginning. And, there's no turning back. We're going to face this idea that some people don't have security, and we're going to work towards it. We're also going to embrace the play part of our humanity, just having fun. It's not going to be easy to do, but we're working towards a more just society. And the divine feminine will be the ruling type of energy for the next probably 1,000 years, maybe even more. So, underneath, what do we have here? I mean, it's tearing down social constructs to rebuild better ones. It's getting rid of this idea that, we have to conform to certain rules. It's shedding this idea of apathy and of greed and deception, and it's moving towards, something that's more about safety and guardrails. And it's major crossroads with the twos again, the two of wands and the two of swords, and we eventually end up at this like secure place with the Queen of Pentacles. So it's really quite nice. So I think things are vastly different afterwards. Let's just throw a few oracle cards here about this. So this three. What do we need to know about this comet? 3I/Atlas. What's it gonna bring for humanity? Uh, Take charge with authority, but on an individual level, it's like we're going to always need some form of government or leadership for a while, but it's going to be more people driven. Uh, the snake shed old skins. We're going to shed a lot of old beliefs, a lot of ways of thinking are just going to become archaic, and unacceptable, more importantly. And then we get autumn, release the old and rest. We're going to release the stuff that's not serving us, and we're going to start moving towards something that's just better. So, all right. Thank you for watching. I'll be back with another video soon.